Hi, friends, and welcome to the latest edition of Reach the World's incredible live stream series as a part of the Endurance22 Expedition. My name is Chris Ahern. I am Director of Partnerships for Reach the World, and I am so excited to connect with you all out throughout the world, over 1,000 classrooms, over 25,000 students who are following us live. And those of you who are watching live on YouTube right now, as well as those who are going to be watching in the future. Hello, future. So excited to have you aboard as well. I am really excited to connect with my friend Tim, who has a very special guest today. I was just saying to Tim and our guest a couple of minutes ago that this one is really special for me as someone who has a profound appreciation for commercial kitchens and how important they are to keeping us fed and healthy. And so it was really exciting to be able to learn a little bit about specifically what it's like to be in charge of the nutrition and the culinary experiences aboard the SA Agulhas 2. So with that, I would love to welcome Tim to give us a brief update on where we are. I know we are getting towards the tail end of our time in the Weddell Sea, so we can get a quick update from you, Tim, and then I would love to be able to hear a little bit up from your guest. Welcome, Tim.
Sorry, I was muted. That was my mistake. Hello, everyone. Welcome back aboard the SA Agulhas 2. We are still in the Weddell Sea. As you probably can't tell from where we are today, but we had so many questions over the last couple of weeks about what we eat, where we eat, how we keep fresh food on the ship for a many week journey. And I thought it was long overdue that we invited Chef Kurt Daniels to join us today. And before I turn things over to him and we talk to him about what it's like to run a kitchen aboard an ice-breaking ship, I want to first of all point out this awesome thing on the wall behind us here. Look at that. The crew of the SA Agulhas 2 made that to help us feel very festive when we were eating meals. You can see sort of in the background some chairs and tables and salt and pepper shakers and place settings for dinner later tonight. This is the dining saloon on the SA Agulhas 2. This is where we come 3 times a day to sort of refuel, catch up with each other when we're all off in different parts of the ship. And it's Chef Kurt and his colleagues who make that moment really possible for us. And once again, before we dive all the way into food, we're going to focus on food today. I just want to share one really great experience I had yesterday. We had a chance to go out on the ice and for a while just sort of sit next to the ship on the sea ice, and a bunch of emperor penguins hopped right out of the water and came right up to us and looked around. So it was amazing to see what's going on outside the ship, an abundant wildlife scene. And then when we came in and were cold and tired and hungry, Chef Kurt and his colleagues were here to get everybody refueled and happy and recharged again. So without any sort of delay, Chef Kurt, welcome to Reach the World. It's great to have you here.
It's nice to be here. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, of course. Can you tell us where you are from and how you got to be a ship's chef?
Well, I'm from Cape Town, Mitchell's Plain to be exact. My whole family is line of chefs. My father, my grandfather, everyone. And my uncle worked for this company. And then my father decided, okay, give me a try, go to see how it's like. And then came here, and then because my family was passionate about making food, I started to follow the trend.
Right.
And then here I am today.
So what's the difference really between cooking on land and cooking on sea?
Basically, the motion. On land, everything is stable.
Right.
On sea is different because weather can pick up at any moment, and then you still have to cook for the amount of people that you have on board. And that's breakfast, lunch, and supper.
All right. So can you give us a brief overview of what your responsibilities are on the ship as the ship chef?
My responsibilities is basically stock control, stock take, um, taking care of my staff, making sure all my staff handles their duties accordingly.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, the quality of food that gets distributed must be excellent at all times.
Okay. And you, I mean, we are now many thousand kilometers and miles away from Cape Town. How do you make sure that you have everything you need to feed more than 100 people 3 times a day this far away from Newport?
Basically, our fridges, we got different type of fridges. We got our meat room, and our meat room is quite massive.
Mhm.
So each hour will be divided into sections. You get your lamb, your pork, your beef, your vegetable, your frozen veggies. Um, then you get your veg room, which just is your veggies. Then there's also a fruit room. Only fruit goes in there.
Mhm.
And then you get your dry store. Dry store consists of um, condiments, sugar, whatever that you can store in there.
Okay, very good. And what is this that I'm holding here?
That's my menu for
All
today.
right. Can you sort of walk us through what this menu says today?
From the top or just for dinner?
Yeah, like what do we have for for a meal? It's saying this is an average meal.
Average meal, what I include for lunch and supper is you will have your starch,
Mhm.
you will have basically two veggies, and then your main meal. And I try to complement the main meal with your entree so that it goes together. So, for instance, if you're a vegetarian or a pescatarian, I will have something as an entree for you that you can also take the rest of the main meals, like the veggies and stuff. And then, obviously, if you eat everything, good for you.
And when someone comes in and is really hungry, what do you call it when you want to order everything on the menu?
It's called the full house.
Full house.
Full house.
That is the magic word around here.
Yes,
I'll take the
yes.
full house, please, because you know everything's going to be good
Yes.
on the plate. What is your favorite thing to create in the kitchen?
For me personally, I like to bake.
Mhm.
So I will make a malva pudding or banana loaf we come to tonight with
Yep.
custard.
Yep, it's right there for dessert tonight. Banana loaf. Oh, there it is. Banana loaf and custard.
Yes, and yeah, basically cakes make from scratch.
Mm.
Anything baking wise, I prefer.
Okay.
I got the sweet tooth.
Okay. We had an amazing cake to celebrate the anniversary of Shackleton's birthday a couple
Yes.
weeks ago. Is that one of your creations?
Yes, that's
This cake was gorgeous. It was like a masterpiece of a cake. And during that time, we were in pretty rough seas. How did you get everything so beautiful when everything you were working with was going like this?
um, well, it's not actually that bad. I mean, yeah, in the galley,
Okay.
it rolls a bit, but we take our time.
Yeah.
If the ship rolls too much and then we stop, we relax, we fix up if we made a mistake.
hmm
Because everything is based on presentation.
Right. What? Yeah. Great. Well, all the food aboard the ship has been absolutely amazing. Coming to the dining salon every day is a highlight for everybody here. Not only because we get to check in with other members of the expedition, but we know that there's going to be a hot, wonderful meal. Did you make the South African donuts that we had the other day? Can you tell us about them, please?
I didn't personally make them. That was my second cook.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what can you describe what those were, please?
It's basically a South African tradition every Sunday. We have donuts with our coffee during, um, before you start your Sunday lunch.
Mm-hmm.
That is what we have.
Okay. And what are they called?
Kusistas.
Kusistas.
Yeah.
Okay. And they are, as far as I understand it, it's an egg-free donut. It's very light
It's light.
and has sort of a
Coconut over it
Coconut.
and like a syrup.
All right. Excellent. Well, Chris, we're ready to take a couple questions. If you have some questions for us about the food, I know we've had a lot from the kids over the week, so we're ready.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we get we get into some of the questions, I do want to say hello to some of the people who are joining us today. We have a very international crew joining us, so I wanted to make sure that I shouted out our friends in St. Louis, Missouri, those Northside Knights, Toluca Lake Elementary in North Hollywood, California, from Allen, Texas, from Brazil. It sounds like it's lunchtime in Brazil, so we're in that perfect time to be speaking with the chef. So I'm really excited to see all of that really wonderful groups of people joining us. We're so excited to be able to speak with you today and learn all about all of that stuff. With the South African donuts, my first question is, can you send us the recipe so we can have students and we can have classrooms here try out how to make them? I don't know if it's too secretive, but it would be great. It would be great if we could put that recipe out to our students.
Not a problem. I can write it down and send it to you.
All right, great. Share the recipe with kids.
All right.
I can try to make or the donuts themselves.
Amazing,
Yeah,
amazing.
It's worth the effort. I don't know how hard they are to make, but
not that hard.
the results is amazing.
Perfect. Oh, I'm glad. I'm so thrilled. So, also, hi. I see we also have someone who's joining us from France. So again, we're going really international today, which is really wonderful. So I'm starting to see some of the questions come in. So I want to make sure that all of our friends who are joining, let's make sure that we're peppering as many questions for our wonderful guest today and for Tim. I have a question, but I'll hold off. I will do my best to be patient and understanding. We have one question here that is, and I assume this is potentially a South African dish. I have a question that says, have you cooked booty for the team?
Sorry?
Or bobotie?
Bobotie.
Yeah.
Have I cooked it? Not yet. I haven't yet cooked it on the ship yet.
What is
that
it?
dish?
It's basically like a layer of mince, and then you get your. It's almost like you make a tomato-based mince,
Okay.
and then with egg on top.
Oh,
Yeah.
yum.
I know what I'm going to be looking up after this call.
Yeah.
We have another really great question from Allen, Texas, which is, how many people are on the culinary team? Is there a dedicated bread or pastry chef?
No, not exactly. At the moment, we only 4 in the galley. That's besides the stewards that serve the meals.
What's the average day for a member of the kitchen staff like? When do you start? When do you end?
We start 6 o'clock in the morning, and then we work our way to 1 o'clock. From 1 till 3 we off, and then 3 o'clock we start until 8 o'clock.
Okay, it's a long day.
It's a long day.
Yeah.
That, I have to say, that is really impressive to me, just to think that you have such a small crew that are serving so many meals. That actually brings up a question that I had about how many meals are you serving in a given day? How many plates? How many portions?
Portions. The total number of people on board the ship is 109. So we must make sure that we have at least a little bit extra, or if someone wants chickens.
And I assume that happens often.
Yes.
I can say, as someone who regularly orders the full house, that I almost never have room for seconds, as much as I would like them, because we are not being shortchanged on food here. In fact, I'm going to come off this ship heavier than I arrived, for sure.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So we're starting to get some really great questions from our friends in St. Louis. I'm seeing some really great questions from Raquel, Aaliyah, and Amora, and we're going to get those. But first, we do have some videos that we wanted to share with you all, just to give you a sense of what it's like to be in some of the places that that Kurt was explaining to us, especially the walk-in fridge, and then also to see some of that prep work that you were mentioning before. So let's see if we can cue that up and share with our friends.
All right, so that looks like a dairy refrigerator.
That's the dairy room. Cheese, milk,
Wow.
Eggs.
egg. No, the eggs is not in there.
Different spot for eggs.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Where are the eggs?
The eggs, we got some in the veg room, and then
Okay.
also in the loft, provisional loft.
Okay, cool. And then let's maybe see if we can see some of that prep work happening as well. While we see if we can get that queued up right in a minute. While we get that, yeah, here we go. This is the stuff that I get excited about watching. So, Kurt, do you know what you guys are prepping there?
That was for the vegetarians. It's soya mince with some veggies in it.
Well, speaking as a vegetarian, I am very impressed with that.
Thanks, man.
Amazing. Yeah, I love being able to see that work and all that prep that goes into serving some lekker food, from what I've heard from Tim and some of the other members of the crew and the team. So I have a question here from Raquel, and she wants to know if you guys are cooking and serving, or if the crew are eating the same thing every day. I know the answer to this, but I'd love for you to explain why that is not the case.
I believe they eat the same food because I work out my menu at night time. Like I'll work tonight's menu for tomorrow. So then I'll take everything I need out for the next day. Yeah, and from there, everybody gets the same meal. So.
But the area behind us. The area behind us is the dining room where most of the passengers eat.
Crew gets served on the other side by the crew's mess. Yeah.
There's a different dining room for the crew, and this is what's this room for?
That's for the duty officers.
Okay, there's a special area for the duty officers. So those times, sort of the daily routine aboard the ship is really organized around meals.
Yes.
That was one of the first things I learned when I got on. These are the meal times, and everything else sort of works around those.
The duty mess and the cruise mess, they eat different times. Mm-hmm. So they will eat before all the passengers. Mm-hmm. So we must make sure that we sort them out first before we sort you guys out.
Yep.
But just to be clear, I think what Raquel is trying to ask is you're not serving the exact same meals every single day, that you're mixing it up. Some days your main protein may be steak, or some days your starch will be potato, but in other days it might be rice, right? So you mix it up, but you want to keep the same things because you want to make sure people are getting the nutrients they need.
Yes, that is correct. I mix it up according to what I have. Basically, I write everything down in my menu book, and then from there I can check up what I gave for each day, so that I have something new to give from the days to come.
What do you do with leftovers?
Basically, there's not a lot left, so we have to throw it away. We don't want to, but yeah, we have to.
Sometimes I see like components of previous dishes very creatively worked into Other dishes? Do you sometimes use leftovers for?
No,
No.
never.
Okay. Well, my mistake.
So we have another question from St. Louis, and Amora wanted to know, and I think you'd already mentioned this, Kurt. So maybe you can tell us about another thing. I know you said you really like to bake, but she wanted to know what's the most special food that you make? What is something that you really that is like, this is when I really want it to be special, a special experience. This is what I want to make.
If you're talking about food, I would say my curries are the best.
Very good.
Tim gives his seal of approval.
I'll give that 2 thumbs up.
But that's some. I mean, I know how serious curries are. So I like that you're throwing down that gauntlet. That's some good confidence right there. I believe it. So we have a question from Brazil before we come back to St. Louis, and that is, does the kitchen close at 11 p.m. or if or basically what happens once the kitchen closes if someone's like, oh, I really need a snack? Are they just kind of out of luck, or is there some other place where people can get things to nibble?
Basically, yeah, you're out of luck. The kitchen is closed. But on that note is on each deck there's a kiosk, consists of bread, coffee. So there you can maybe make your own snack. And then also there is a bar that sells cool drinks, chips, chocolates from 8 to 10. So there you can also have something to eat.
At these kiosks, there are loaves of bread, peanut butter, jelly, lots of different kinds of spreads. You can make a sandwich.
Yeah.
You can eat rusks, the South African bread at tea time. Plenty of tea and coffee. There's never been a moment during the day or night if I was hungry that I could not find something to eat. But it's not outside of meal times. It's not in here, not in the dining saloon.
I mean, Tim, I think you've told me that this is a situation where you're probably going to return to the States a little bit heavier or the same weight than you were when you left because you're being fed so well, right?
I try to, when I get a chance to walk out on the snow, it burns a lot of calories. So I try to go for really long walks and volunteer to pull something heavy or do something that gets my heart racing a little bit so that I can come back and justify a full house from Kurt.
That's amazing. We have a question from Alan, Texas that I love is, can you tell us the quantities of ingredients that you use? How many eggs, liters of milk, pounds of meat, pounds of flour? I think the students want to understand when you're talking about preparing food for 109 people or so. What does that mean in terms of the number of eggs for breakfast, for example?
Basically, each person is entitled to eggs for breakfast. So you take 109 people on board and you times it by 2, which is 218. So that is the amount of eggs we use actually a day. But sometimes people don't come down for breakfast or they're too tired or something. So then we save on that also. With the meat, I take about 20 kilos, depending on the type of meat that there is. Some of the meats is already cut. So then I just take that proportion. I count the meat that I need, about 115, just to be on the safe side. And then the rest I will put back into the freezer.
Chris, we have, I think, some other videos of other storage areas on the ship that give you a good sense of like the dry goods area and the vegetable area. Those videos were, if they're available, it'd be great to show because they show early on, like probably a couple weeks ago, in those places when it was just filled to the brim with those provisions.
Yeah, we can definitely queue up another one or two of those. Absolutely. Yeah, let's see. Which one of the walk-ins is this, Kurt?
That is the vegetable room.
Oh, yeah, let's see that again. Yeah, the veg room. See, that's where I would live on board the ship. Oh, amazing. I think that's really important to mention that that when you all are talking about the amount that you're doing, everything, a really big portion of what you're talking about is fresh. That you're able to keep a huge amount of really great fresh vegetables, fresh meat, dairy. That is very, very different than what happened on board Endurance, partially because as the ship was being crushed, their storage area was extremely limited, and so they were forced to have mostly pemmican and then make hoosh out of it. Whereas you're able to be a lot more creative, I would say. You have a lot more things at your disposal. Let's see if we can maybe queue up one more while we get another question answered. I like this question from. Sure.
Go ahead.
No, Tim, you go.
While you're queuing up the video, I can just say we did on a previous live stream sample pemmican. I'm so grateful that is not my primary food. That we have the great meals coming out of the galley, because pemmican was not my favorite.
Amazing. Okay, let's see here. Which one is this? I think this must be the one of the meat rooms.
Yeah.
Whoa, it's huge.
Yeah.
Holy cow! I think this is the biggest walk-in I've seen so far. Wow. Well, I mean, you were saying, Kurt, earlier that you usually pull about you said 20 kilos when you're setting up the meat prep for the day. It's about 50 pounds for those of us here on the English on using the English system. So 50 pounds of meat a day is that's a lot of meat, and I can see why you need to store so much of it. So we're seeing a lot of great pictures of the storage areas, which are so important to your work. But Simone actually had a question about how big is the kitchen area. So I know we saw one when you were making the vegetarian meal, but roughly how big is the kitchen area? And then she also wanted to know what is the one tool you use more than any other?
The kitchen area is quite large. Yeah, it's about as big as the meat freezer. Same size exactly. And yeah, the one tool that I use always is the chef's knives.
What do you use it for?
Everything. Cutting meat, everything.
Yeah. How do you do the different people in the kitchen have specific jobs when it comes to meal preparation? Like, is one person prepping vegetables all the time, every day?
Basically what happens is the catering assistant and the third cook will start with breakfast. Mm-hmm. They will prep and execute breakfast, while me and the second cook will start prepping for lunch. Mm. And then from there we just carry on. Okay. Whoever's first done or tackles the next store, so that we know we're in time to serve.
When do you get to eat?
After everyone else.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe, is it okay to like sample in between, or is that generally frowned upon?
Well, you have to taste.
Yes, you have to taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't sample.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just have to smell the good aromas and then wait.
There's a difference between tasting and sampling, and you have to ride that line while you're going. It's so interesting that because of your the small kitchen crew, that it's almost like a relay race. That as soon as one person's done, then you're just picking up the next piece, and then you're just constantly supporting one another throughout the day. I think that's really, really interesting. And it reminds me, and I know this is something that I told you that I wanted to talk about before we started the live stream, which is I was wondering if you could tell our students about the importance of that prep, of the concept. There's this French phrase mise en place, which is all about keeping things in their place. And so I was wondering if you could tell our students the importance of why do you spend so much time doing the prep work and not just worry about the actual cooking when it's happening?
Well, for prep work is you have to have in this line of job, everything goes according to time. So if you're late on a certain uh, meal or item that you have to prep, and then it all goes south. So, like I said, the third cook and the catering assistant will start with breakfast. That is their duty for breakfast. Once they start there, we start from 6 o'clock, me and the second cook, um, to start prepping for lunch because there's certain meals that takes longer than others. So yeah, it's very important to prep all your stuff ahead of time than always being behind.
Right, and when you're behind, when that happens, the I know the kitchen term is being in the weeds. That's the last place that you want to be when you're on the line is in the weeds. So I love this question from Mark only because I'm sure Mark is asking for the opposite reason why I'm going to ask it, which is he wants to know if you cook broccoli and Brussels sprouts. I want to know because they're two of my favorite things to eat. I think Mark is probably asking for the opposite reason.
Yes, we do cook it, um, but I use up all the fresh stuff. So there was fresh broccoli, so I used that. But once that the fresh runs out, then we go to frozen, and I do have frozen Brussels sprouts. So yes, we do use it.
And what did you make with them?
I made a cauliflower and broccoli bake. Sometimes I just give it steam, nice crunchy. So yeah, just season for taste.
I remember it well. It was excellent.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So let me see here. Gene was wondering about do you pre-plan the meals for the entire cruise, for the entire trip on a weekly or daily basis? So every morning you're not going into the walk-ins and seeing, oh, this is what I have, and you're planning for the day. You're probably doing that a little bit farther out, right?
No, not exactly. Like I said, I plan my meals like tomorrow's menu I will plan tonight. So I'll take a look around in the fridge. What do I have? And then check my menu book to see what I gave before, so that I don't give the same thing over and over again.
Do you have a sense of what the most popular dish amongst the diners is? Like, how do you get feedback? I mean, all I see are empty plates going back to the kitchen, but do you have a sense of what everybody likes?
Not exactly.
Yeah.
Basically, as long as the plate comes back empty and everybody's happy, I'm happy.
Oh, I love that. And I should issue a brief retraction. I have to say, I apologize, Mark. I thought you were saying it because you weren't a fan of broccoli and Brussels sprouts, but he says that they're his favorites too. So right on you, Mark. I appreciate that. So Isabella from Mr. Lee's class over in Toluca Lake Elementary, she wanted to know if the fish that you're using, is that fresh caught, as in fresh outside the boat, or you're bringing that fish with you, right?
Yeah, we brought the fish with us. It's not freshly caught fish.
Yeah. We have seen a few fish on the AUV down at 10,000 feet at the bottom of the Weddell Sea, but there's no way to catch them. We just leave them alone.
And are those the ice fish, these fish that are almost clear looking, and they is that what you're talking about, Tim?
I couldn't tell you for sure. I'm not a marine biologist, but they were some pretty crazy looking fish. They were not, I mean, to be able to survive underneath that water in the dark, I have no idea if it would be even good to eat.
I'm not
we
sure.
just left them alone, and we had some smoked salmon.
Smoked salmon
That
and
was
mackerel.
amazing, just amazing for lunch.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sounds better than probably the things that you'd be more likely to catch there. Plus, I don't think that we're technically allowed to do something like that. Someone else had asked a little bit earlier about if you are, Eric had asked if there's any sort of cooking and eating, probably thinking about, I assume Eric has been studying the journey of endurance where this did happen, about cooking and eating penguins and seals. And I don't think that's allowed anymore, but I do know that was important for Shackleton and his crew to stay healthy. That was their idea of a more balanced meal.
So no penguins going to be on the menu, no seals.
Never.
Yeah, they're too cute. Like, it breaks my heart that Shackleton and crew had to eat them many years ago, but they were in a very different situation where they were just trying to survive, and we're doing much better than just trying to survive.
So we have another question from Texas, from Alan, about if you're doing any theme nights, especially since the crew is so international. Is there any, are you ever planning any theme nights? They're asking, like, is there an Italian theme or more of like an Indian style theme, especially since it sounds like you're extremely talented with the curries, or maybe something like Chinese or Japanese, or I have heard a little bit word about steak night, but are you doing any sort of theme stuff like that, especially in the evenings?
Not really. I basically just try to give them different dishes. Each time, some Italian, some French. I try to mix it up a bit, not just a South African dish.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, steak nights is always on a Saturday. But I also tend to mix that up with a mixed grill.
Can you talk a little bit? I don't know if we're going to do one on this cruise, but I know sometimes there are braais on the helipad. Can you explain what that is? Is that your night off, or are you involved in that as well?
I'm involved in that, but not too much. Basically, what happens is I will take out the meat, I'll prep it, everything, and then they will have like a fire at the back, braai area, and then basically whatever you want, you get the chance to braai it for yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, and then me and my team just clean up afterwards.
Gives us a chance to see that we could not do it any better than anyone else, that we can ruin our own meat on our own.
Or you can do it better than me.
And so a braai, I guess, would be the equivalent of a barbecue in the U.S. It sounds like,
Yes.
where it's just like a lot of meat over open fire, a lot of grilled stuff. That sounds great. That is really fun. Definitely something that I don't think that Shackleton and his crew were doing unless it was more out of necessity. Let me see here. I saw another really good. So Simone, this is another one of our students in St. Louis, is wondering, what do people drink? So we've heard a little bit about having coffee. I know tea is a really big deal. What are some of the things that people are enjoying from a beverage perspective on board?
Beverage perspective, that doesn't fall under me. That falls under the saloon steward, but it gives them Oros, and then there's a mystery red drink that only he knows. And there's water. I know they serve the captain them lemon water. But coffee, tea, Milo, hot chocolate. Yeah.
What is the yellow drink? It's like a very sweet juice.
Yeah, that's the Oros.
Oros.
Yes.
Okay. And do we know what that is, or what that translates to, or is that the secret recipe?
No, that's basically I think a South African drink pop. Basically, you just add some water.
Okay.
Dilute it. It's concentrated. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you have two options mainly for meals, like the water,
And
if you're
juice.
being healthy, or you can go for the really good sweet juice that most people choose.
And then we also have 100% juices. Yeah, apple juice, orange juice, grape juice.
Yeah. The coffee makers in the various lounges are very, very popular too. Every time I go there, someone's making coffee. Maybe it's someone who is working on the back deck with the AUVs and they're just waking up for their shift and they're sort of fresh brewing a cup of coffee or making some tea, a hot drink to keep you nice and warm and awake if you're working a lot and not sleeping as much.
I love it. Yeah, I would probably be having I'd be switching between water and coffee, which is pretty much what I do in the office, as my colleagues here in New York know all too well. So I love this question from Mikkel, which is, what do you do for fun when you're not cooking? Do you know, on that limited time off that you have, because I know you're working really hard, what do you like to do?
Well, for me and my team, we have like a PlayStation, so we like to play soccer, FIFA. So yeah, we play doubles and we battle against each other. After that, straight shower, sleep.
Do it all again.
Yeah.
So you're not the first person we've heard from who likes to play FIFA soccer. Must be one of your Shawal must be one of your opponents.
Yeah.
Kurt, what's your favorite team to play with?
My favorite team should be Real Madrid.
All right, yeah, we all the important teams. I think Shawal had mentioned that he likes to play with Barcelona. So, so we got one more question here that I really love, which is so she wanted to know who cooks when it's your birthday, and I imagine that if it was your birthday while you were on an expedition like this, you still are the one who cooks. But do you do anything special if there are birthdays to celebrate?
Yes, basically we bake a cake from scratch. Trimmings, depending if it's an officer or a crew member or a passenger, we will take that into consideration and then decorate it as for them, basically.
There have been several birthdays since we've been on the ship. The purser Sia had a birthday.
Yeah.
Several of the passengers or expedition members have had birthdays, and there've been some very nice cakes.
And there's another 2 birthdays coming on now, the 10th.
Excellent. I'm so happy to hear it.
I can hear that excitement for the cake. Like, I'm sure, Tim, I know you well enough that you're really excited to be able to have that celebration and that happiness, but you want the cake.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing to point out to all the kids in the audience who are thinking about becoming explorers or going on expeditions. Aboard the SA Agulhas 2, we get dessert every single night. Every night there is something delicious for dessert, which is not what I usually get at home. But we have been spoiled in the dessert section for sure for many weeks now.
And Kurt, I know we've been talking about the things that you love to make the most and that sort of thing, and it's really interesting. But I want to flip that question on its ear. What is your favorite thing to eat? What is the thing? What is that thing that is like, and I always think more in terms of savory. But like, what is that thing that really is like, oh, that's always going to hit the spot every time I have it?
For me, it's a peppermint tart. I'm a sweet tooth, so that is the thing I crave. So if I get the chance to make it, I will make it.
Can you tell us a little bit about run us really quickly through how do you make something like that?
It's quite simple and easy. All you need is cream, caramel treat. Basically, you whip up the cream, you add your caramel treat, then you add your peppermint crisp, you rasper it in. So it's nice and fine, but it must be a lot so that you get that peppermint taste. And then while that's busy whipping up, you get your thinner biscuits, mash that up, add it with some hot butter, then you stick it down on the pan, and then you let it cool down, and then you just add the caramel cream in, and then you let it sit. It's quite simple.
Sounds so good.
Yeah, that's quite nice.
You make it sound so easy, but I know I would be having a complete mess on my hands by step 3. But that sounds amazing, and I can totally see why that is your go-to. So I have a couple other questions. We're wrapping up. We're getting close to our time. I have a couple questions that we're just getting some fantastic questions from our students, and I do want to thank you all for asking us such great questions. So one of our students wants to know, what do you love most about your job? And then also, is there one part that is really challenging that you think is really hard for you to do? But so let's talk about both sides, right? What is the thing that is the thing that you love most, and then something that you find really hard and challenging?
Well, to start off with, I love my job in total. I can't picture myself doing something else. This is what I was brought up for, basically. Seeing that my parents, both my parents, my grandparents, they all were in the kitchen. So yeah, I love that. I would say the most challenging part of everything is working with different people, because you never know, especially on a ship. Each person pulls about 4 to 5 months. So then you have to adapt to how they are and how they work, basically.
And everybody's got to be working together for the kitchen
Yes.
to operate.
And it's up to me to make sure that it runs like a well-oiled machine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's especially interesting, because I know from having had a little bit of experience through my father, who's worked in commercial kitchens for his entire professional life, that usually in those cases 4 or 5 months is when you start really clicking with your fellow kitchen staff mates, and that's the entirety of your time working together. So to be able to get that unity so quickly is really impressive, and I think it speaks to you and your ability to run that kitchen. So we have another great question that I do want to get to, which is about, what do you wear when cooking? I know you have looks like a black apron on right now. Is that always the color that you wear? Do you have different color aprons? What is your uniform? Tell us about that.
Basically, it's just the chef pants, safety boots, and then the chef jacket, and then with your cap.
And why is it important to wear a cap?
Importance because of your hair. If you have a lot of hair like I do, you don't want your hair to go into the meals. Right. So you have to keep it covered at all times.
Okay.
And I know this because I remember seeing my dad come home. Do you have anything on your shoulder? Do you have anything like any items like? My dad always had
pens.
the thermometer,
Pens,
for example, and pens.
Yeah. No, I don't like to keep it on me. We got a separate place in the galley that we keep all that stuff. So we just leave it there.
You don't like having those things on you?
No.
And I know you mentioned this at the beginning, but as you were talking about how you build a menu, because Tim, you had shown us the menu, but Ramila, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that, but Ramila wanted to know if you can read off some of the things that are on today's menu. So what will Tim be eating in a little while?
Okay. What you will be eating for dinner is savory couscous, roast gammon, baby potatoes, and ratatouille. And then obviously for dessert would be banana loaf and custard.
Do you see the smile on my face? I am very, very happy with that.
I wish I ate that well. No, that is an amazing meal of top to bottom. I love that. And Messiah wants to know about if you've ever had a fire in the kitchen.
No, never. We haven't had any fires in the kitchen so far, and hopefully not in the future. But we do drills that simulate the fire, so that we also are prepared for if should one break out, and then we could handle it.
See, I think that's also something that makes what you do so amazing and impressive. That that in kitchens, you know, flames are all over the place. The heat, everything is just happening and it's chaos, and it's just sort of whatever it happens. And if heaven forbid something happened, everyone just walks out of the kitchen until someone can get something in to put the fire out, and that's that. But you can walk outside. There is no walking outside for you all, so you have to be a part of those drills to make sure that people are kept safe on board the ship. That just like what Tim was saying earlier about how I feel like you're underselling the fact that you're cooking in high seas, and you're just like, well, we need to cook well, and that's fine. That is really, really impressive, and I am truly in awe of you and your team for doing that so well.
Well, Chris, we have talked quite a bit about how busy Chef Kurt is, and we are now coming up to the dinner hour aboard the ship. So I think it's probably a good time to let him go back and keep his work going. I feel very fortunate that he was able to join us today and take this time out of his busy day, as we all heard. So it's probably a good time for us to wrap it up.
Absolutely, yeah. You took the words right out of my mouth, Tim. But Chef Kurt, thank you so much for being with us today. Our students learned a lot. You can tell from the questions they really are trying to understand and internalize the incredible work that you and your colleagues are doing to keep the ship healthy, happy, and fed. And so I want to thank you and thank Tim. I want to thank all of our folks who are joining us live and then who will be joining us in the future. It is such an honor and a pleasure to be speaking with you. And I hope, I wish you best of luck and nothing but amazing dishes for the remainder of the Endurance 22 expedition.
Thanks a lot, man. It was a pleasure to be on live with you, Chris.
Oh, likewise. Thanks so much. And we'll see everyone in tomorrow. My friend Joe with Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants will be doing a live stream, and then we'll be coming back on Wednesday, and we'll be doing a special live stream with Menson Bound as well as Chad Bonin. We'll be talking about the search for endurance. We have some other events later in the week. As well, it's going to be an action-packed week as the Endurance 22 expedition starts to transition into yet another phase of the incredible work that you all are doing together. So with that, we will leave it for today and have a wonderful day, all of you and those of you out there. Thanks again.
Bye.
Bye.